Hi Forefront, my name is Emmy. My pronouns are she, her. I started coming to Forefront like a little over a year ago in June after I had just moved to the city and I had tried so many churches in my attempt to find a good fit. And the thing that I was really looking for is I wanted a church that felt joyful, that felt comfortable, and that felt honest. And I had gone a lot of places, like there's a lot of good churches out there, but none of them felt like they had all of those things. And then when I discovered Forefront, it was just, it was like the first church I had found that I felt welcomed questions, and not just with the goal of getting you the answers as quickly as possible, but with the goal of helping you like live in those questions and try to navigate those questions and connecting you with other people that had those same questions. It was the first church I'd ever gone to that it felt was honest about everything, that there were no closed doors, there were no questions that you weren't allowed to ask. You were allowed to ask, why do we have the Bible? What are we doing with this? Why is this here? Why are there these contradictions? Why is there genocide? Have these verses been used to clobber the LGBT community? Why is this happening? And it was a church that didn't avoid those questions and didn't give you band-aid answers to those questions, but that genuinely was interested in wrestling with those questions with you. It was also a church that is just tremendously practical in terms of its vision of generosity and compassion. When COVID hit, and like a lot of other people, I immediately lost my job. The first people to reach out to me and be like, hey, do you need your rent covered? Was Forefront. It was immediate, like, do you need groceries? Do you need your rent covered? What do you need from us? What can we do to help you get through this? Here's a program you can apply for. Here's this you can apply for. And it was just this outpouring of like very practical loving of your neighbor, not just as this like big abstract elusive idea, but as this like actual active thing. And I had only been at Forefront for like half a year, and that was how I was treated. I think that a lot of churches talk about being inclusive of everyone and being everyone is welcome, I think is a phrase that gets tossed around a lot. And I think there is a difference between being welcomed and being loved. And I think Forefront is a church that genuinely tries to actively, physically love everyone that is a part of its community. I think that everyone is equally affirmed and everyone is equally considered as valid to take on positions of leadership. When it like became clear to Sarah and Jonathan that like I was interested in theology and I had questions about the Bible and who wrote it and what's happening and what the heck are the Gnostic Gospels, I was connected with so many resources from Sarah to be like, here are these books that you can read. Here are these directions you can go with this. Do you want to start a small group specifically for people asking these questions? And then, they told me to go ahead and start a small group for that. And now Sammy and I have been leading that small group for like 6 months of just people wrestling with the history of the Bible and trying to figure it out. I think just the ways in which Forefront comes alongside folks to help them in their faith, both abstractly in terms of providing like encouragement and spiritual nourishment and beautiful, joyful worship, but then also in giving people opportunities to lead and to connect with other people. I grew up in a church where women were not allowed to speak on Sundays in terms of, and where leadership was something that you had to go through in order to be a leader in the church. And Forefront is a church where the gift of leadership is given freely. And I have had more opportunities to lead at Forefront than I have at any church I've ever gone to before, and more opportunities to participate in the work of the gospel. It's the first church I've ever gone to a protest with. It's the first protest I ever went to is with Forefront. And I think that says a lot about what their character is as a church and the kind of institution that they're trying to build. I love this church. I love these people. I think that they're truly doing the work of God and wrestling through all of the mess of being alive and being human and being Christian in this weird and wacky world.